What does PJ Fleck do for an encore? Next on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. All right, we're breaking down the Gophers for 2020, getting you set for the Big Ten season. We got Daniel House on the line from GophersGuru.com, so please check out his work right there. Again, it's GophersGuru.com, and we'll get the banner posted so you can check out the site. Daniel, how you doing today?
Doing well. Just launched a new website on July 1st, GophersGuru.com, so excited to connect with Gopher fans on there and talk with you today about a little Gopher football.
Yeah, let's run through the roster, both offense and defense. Tanner Morgan had a tremendous season, statistically elevated himself to the likes of Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Burrow. A lot of comparisons made in regards to yards per completion, TD to pick ratio. I guess my only concern here, Daniel, is he has maxed out, apparently, his physical skills. Is there a ceiling? Is this the best that we've seen of Tanner Morgan?
Well, some of the things to watch for Tanner Morgan is new offensive coordinator Mike Sanford taking over not only offensive duties in a co-capacity with Matt Simon, the wide receivers coach, but he's going to be working with the quarterbacks. And I love some of the things I've seen watching some of the coaching videos at Utah State, the pocket movement stuff that he does with the quarterbacks. And not only that, but Tanner Morgan working with his personal kinesiologist, his movement coach, learning some of the new techniques that he can continue to add to his game from a pocket movement standpoint. I think that's one of the areas that he's consistently worked on, and the vertical passing concepts that are going to come along with Mike Sanford's offense. I think that's going to add a new dimension to everything. They were so great with the RPOs in the intermediate game last year, and they took play action shots when they needed to. But these vertical concepts that I've been watching on Mike Sanford's offensive film, dating all the way back in his coaching career, very long time, I'm excited about Tanner being able to showcase himself in that capacity and add a couple new elements to his game. I mean, top 5 passing efficiency offense last year in the country. I haven't seen a passing game like that from Gopher football in all the years that I've been watching.
Please subscribe right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Turn on the bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live. Check out Daniel House on Gophers Guru to keep you caught up on Minnesota football, one of the emerging powers in the Big Ten. And as you mentioned, a rare combination for this Gopher offense in 2019 of efficiency and explosiveness. Usually it's one or the other for any offense in college football. 6th in the nation in yards per completion, 4th in time of possession. Much of that credit has to go to the offensive line, and all 5 starters and key backups seem to be returning.
Yeah, that's one of the things with the Gophers offense. 82% of the offensive production is returning next year, which is 13th in the country, according to ESPN's metrics. So seeing all that production return, the offensive line, you got 5 key starters. Honestly, there's 6 capable offensive linemen. They ran a lot of heavy personnel packages with those guys last year. I want to see how that room shakes out. John Michael Schmitz last year inserted in at center later in the year, graded as one of the top centers by PFF. And when you watch the film, you go, this guy has to be out on the field. And Minnesota, at one point when PJ Fleck arrived, they had trouble fielding an offensive line for spring practice due to injury and recruiting holes. So now having the offensive line filled with depth and then continuing to add younger players to the mix, it's going to be one of the strengths of the team. The biggest loss is Tyler Johnson and Rodney Smith in the backfield. So who emerges as wide receiver 3? We know Chris Autman-Bell will be wide receiver 2 behind Rashad Bateman. I expect him to really have a breakout year, but is it Demetrius Douglas as wide receiver 3, Mike Brown-Stevens? A couple names that come to mind. Douglas, a recruit coming in. I think freshmen, it's going to be interesting to see how they acclimate with the COVID-19 pandemic going on and not having as much time to prepare for the season. Do the freshmen make as much of an impact this year? I don't know. It's going to be fascinating across college football.
Yeah, Daniel, as you mentioned, most programs would be seriously concerned about losing their second leading receiver of all time, Tyler Johnson, who caught 86 passes, an all-time record at Minnesota last year in 2019. Rodney Smith, of course, played forever there and amassed the second most rushing yards all time. But the replacements seem to be at least as good, and this is just a brand of Minnesota football in regards to playmakers on the perimeter and in the backfield, and depth at those skill positions that we've never seen.
Yeah, Minnesota's depth at the running back position even too. Mohamed Ibrahim coming back. I don't think he gets enough credit. One of the most underrated backs in the Big Ten coming in. Breaks a lot of tackles. yards after contact machine, very physical runner. And like you said, with Autman-Bell being able to merge possibly as a number 2 receiver, I like what he's done in the past and believe with more snaps, he's another person that could be a breakout candidate. Bateman obviously did a 2-part breakdown on Gophers Guru for the subscribers and went through like 25 routes. And I can't believe some of the skills that he brings to the table. Yards after catch, catch radius, catching a lot of balls in traffic, the route running. I mean, he is just a complete receiver. Having him back, the biggest thing I'm wondering about is the Batman Robin last year was Johnson Bateman. And you know that Bateman's going to get bracket coverage a lot. He saw some of it even later in last season. So the biggest thing is who will emerge. And TJ Fleck and Matt Simon are 2 of the best coaches in the country at developing wide receivers. So if you're going to have to, replace production at a position, wide receiver is definitely one that doesn't concern me as much.
The measuring stick in the division, basically since it's been formed in 2014, has of course been Wisconsin, Iowa to a lesser degree. So once you start to be able to compete with those teams as you did last year, although those were the 2 losses, Minnesota is obviously broken through to a certain extent. But give me an idea among Gopher fans what it meant to match up against an SEC power and win that game as a touchdown underdog, because we saw what Auburn did to a Purdue team that was feeling good about itself the year before in a bowl game and completely annihilate them and run them off the field, and then to match up as an SEC Big Ten matchup and get that win had to be a huge boost for the program.
Well, I think you look at how they did it. I mean, it was a domination up front. The offensive line played extremely well. Mohamed Ibrahim had a huge game. Tanner Morgan had a deep shot TD to Tyler Johnson off play action. Rashad Bateman was making plays in space. The defense, I thought, got better as the season progressed. And you just see that the way that they went about it and prepared for that game, they were so ready to play. Kirk Shiraka, the offensive coordinator, had left and took the job at Penn State. Matt Simon steps in and calls plays, does a phenomenal job in a collaborative effort. And that's what excites me the most about this season, is bringing in a guy like Mike Sanford, who has that vertical concept background and a lot of QB development skills, working with Jordan Love. Last year, he's worked with Deshaun Kaiser in the past. He's a strong quarterback developer. And you compare that with and pair it with Matt Simon, a wide receivers coach who has a background in the RPO system, and Brian Callahan and Clay Patterson with that outside zone, inside zone rushing scheme. I thought the outside zone scheme last year was one of the things that really elevated the Gophers rushing concepts to another level. I did a huge breakdown on that. And you see what they were able to do with their offense, how balanced and multidimensional they were. And now you add another layer with Mike Sanford and all that returning production coming back. I'm excited about the offense and believe that, it was already a top, 12 efficient offense in the country. What's in store next? I think everyone's excited to find out.
Daniel House joins us on a regular basis to break down the Gophers. Of course, we hope to be just about 8 weeks away from college football, with Minnesota looking to vie for a Big Ten Western Division championship. What are the thoughts inside the program in regards to what at least is being stated about the likelihood of college football?
I don't think anybody really knows right now, Mark. I mean, it's so uncertain. You got to have all the testing prepared. You've got testing companies you're working with, trying to make sure that you have all the tracing and everything that's needed in place. I know that we had talked with Mark Coyle a while back, and he was laying out all the different scenarios about, if they don't play at all, they lose $75 million. If they're able to play, partial with fans, there's certain implications that occur, and it continues to go up. Once you lose that TV revenue, a lot of programs are gonna struggle. So if you can find a way to even play without fans or with just a few fans, that's the ideal scenario. But with the way things are trending right now, I don't think anybody knows what the next few weeks are going to look like. And when we have more contact days coming up, when the coaches start working with the players, what's it going to look like? Is there going to be an uptick in testing? For the most part, I think the Big Ten, the numbers haven't been too bad. You look at what Indiana, Maryland, Minnesota, the Gophers had 7 players, I believe, out of 170 that were test positive for coronavirus. So the numbers in the Big Ten haven't been too bad, but we just don't know what the next few weeks will bring.
And it's such a different dynamic than what we see being decided at the professional level, because of the various institutions, the various conferences, all having autonomous authority working with the state and local governments, as opposed to one league governed by a commissioner and owners that can go forward and be on one page. Daniel House, there's the banner you see right there where the website is, Gophers Guru. You know that from joining us on a regular basis and watching Daniel's analysis here, he does a fantastic job. So Daniel, we will break down the defense next. We appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me.